As the artistic director of Shankarananda Kalakshetra, Ananda Ji leads an acclaimed ensemble besides training and presenting the next generation of Bharatanatyam artists. Ananda Ji has been decorated with Padmashri. Huge round of applause, please. Decorated with Padmashri in 2007. And Srimati Ananda Ji has also been honored by the government of Tamil Nadu with the Kalai Mamani Award and with Kalaratna by the government of Andhra Pradesh. There are so many flowers in the season of spring, Vasanta. Vasanta Ananta Pushpasya Madohi Chute Dvirebhamala Sa Vishesha Sangha. ವಸಂತ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಸಂಖ್ಯಾತವಾದ ಹೂವುಗಳು ಅರಳಿದ್ದರೂ ಭೃಂಗಗಳ ಪಂಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಮಾವಿನ ಹೂವಿನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಆಸಕ್ತಿಯು. Though there are multitude of flowers blown across the garden, the row of bees have a particular attraction to the mango flowers, like we have for the next event now. I am inviting on the stage Ananda Ji. We as earnest students in the field of art are waiting eagerly for your words of scholarly wisdom on the topic of mainstreaming arts in education. Over to Ananda Ji.
Namaskara. Vande Bharatanatyam. I think we've all been completely blown away with that 1.5 hours of extraordinary presentation of Bharatanatyam from the youngest to the professional dancer. Each one bringing that skein of thread that runs in all of us. So together, Vande Bharatanatyam. At the outset, allow me to thank Muneet Ji and Preethi Ji and the whole team of Vidyakshetra for inviting me here. I remember Muneet Ji sent me this message about a few months ago, and I said, yes, I'll be here because it sounded so interesting. Muneet Ji's and my friendship goes back just about a year, when we did an event in Hyderabad and he spoke so eloquently with such great erudition on the work that Vidyakshetra is doing. So, but before I go into the topic that has been given to me, allow me to congratulate every little girl who danced here today. Each child from Vidyakshetra who have been trained by Dwarita now and by the other teachers over the last acharyas, over the last few years of Vidyakshetra and maybe earlier in their own private spaces, what you saw today and what I saw today is this extraordinary happiness and joy that each child brought to the stage. And for that, I will thank the past acharyas and the present Guru for imbuing that sense of joy, that sense of touching something supposedly intangible, touching something that is our own, but with so much ease. I don't know if many of you noticed it, but somewhere after the Alaripu began, somewhere all of us were just taken away into a lovely journey. You may say, yes, ma'am, you're a dancer, so that's why. No, but as a dancer, I'll probably be finding what's right, what's wrong, as a guru. But that's what I didn't do. And that is rare. Because when as a senior teacher, you sit in the audience, you're always thinking, hey, this could be better, that could be better. But today, that didn't happen. And for that, I will congratulate the Guru, Dwarita, and the previous acharyas, because obviously it couldn't have happened over a year. And the children, each and every one of you, I don't know your names, I won't remember, but each and every one of you have owned that space that we call the Rangasthala, the stage. You know, there's a saying in the dance world, when you go onto the stage, it's like a cavern, it's like a cave, dark. And when you go there, it is just empty space. And then suddenly the light shines upon you. And the whole world and its uncle is looking at you. And what do? You surrender. You surrender to that space. You surrender to that learning, shiksha that you have received. And you surrender to that skein, that river of knowledge that has been flowing for centuries and millennia in this blessed land. And when you go there, what happens? You, I, Ananda, Anandita, Aradhita, and everyone else, we drop ourselves in the green room. My guru used to say this, and I think Dwarita is also from that same lineage of Kalakshetra. And I was very, very blessed to have studied in the presence of Rukmini Devi Arundel as a young child. And she used to say this. She used to tell us, leave yourself in the green room. I don't want to see you on the stage. We never understood that. I mean, I was there when I was 11. And we used to say, why is Atte telling us to leave ourselves? If we leave ourselves in the green room, how will I dance on stage? But then as we grew up, and as we started taking on roles far beyond our age, as we were trained into stories that we had never heard of, or we had heard of from our grandparents or parents, but we were getting into that mind space of that character. Then you realize that yes, if I have to do a small little role of a monkey on stage, or a small little role I remember my first role was putting chamaram, as a 12-year-old. I put chamaram for 3 hours. For Rama, for Sita, for Janaka, for Ravana, for everybody I put chamaram. But even for that, one of our senior teachers, Periya Sharada teacher we used to call her, she sat me down for a week, teaching me every shlokam from the Valmiki Ramayana, which was happening on stage when I had to put chamaram. So I had to react. I had to learn the shlokam. I had to by heart it. And then I had to understand what ragam it was. So that, supposing there is a sad scene happening on stage, or there's something not so sad happening, I can't be smiling. So I have to also emote accordingly. And then I realized that, hey, even if I'm putting a little chamaram, I'm a great character on stage. So what I'm trying to share here is that idea of surrendering yourself to the larger story, to the larger itihasa, to the larger narrative that you want to take to the audience. Rukmini Devi, my guru, used to say, you are just a patra on stage. You may be a pretty dancer, you are all dressed beautifully. Of course we are. Nevertheless, what you are doing is you're bringing the energies of the masters. You're bringing the energies of the divine. You're channelizing, you're funneling those energies through the window of your dance. And through that, whether it's dance, music, whatever, through that thread, that unbroken thread, unbroken river, unbroken flow of knowledge and wisdom is coming through you to the audience who also surrender themselves to the story. What a beautiful way of looking at art. Not entertainment. She used to tell us, Rukmini Devi, that art is life and life is art. And art cannot be just a career or entertainment, but life. And today, the children embodied that naturally. Each of the children, whether it was doing the Jagan Mohanane Krishna or some other piece, they just flowed into that. They became Krishna. You didn't see your child there, did you? Or maybe you did. But I hope you didn't. I hope you didn't see your child. I hope you saw Krishna, and I did. And that happens because the teacher has trained them to be inside the art with humility. And to me, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the very, very essence of our art forms. But before I start my topic itself, a small correction for the Guru and the announcer. The Nathabhairavi Tilana is a composition of Veena Krishnamacharya and not M.D. Ramanathan. Just make that note. It is said that when the temples were taken away from the people, all the art forms that existed within and supported by the temple lost ground. Patronage completely was destroyed. And that is when many of these maestro gurus were almost living in deep penury. And that's when, in 1936, when Rukmini Devi Arundale started Kalakshetra, with this intention of making sure that the art didn't die, she invested her own money to do it. And there, she invited these gurus, Tiger Varadacharya, Veena Krishnamacharya, Papanasham Shivan, M.D. Ramanathan, I mean the who's who of that generation, Gauri Ammal, from the Devadasi community, everybody, to come and teach her little handful of students. And she offered them, she said, I will give you a roof over your head. I will be able to sustain you to some extent. But more importantly, I will give you Maryada. And that is why Veena Krishnamacharya, renowned guru, composed this song, this Tilana, in which he says, E Vasudhalo Bharata Shastramunu Prapala Parachutaku Kalakshetramani. On this earth, to promote the arts, she created Kalakshetra. With confidence and strength, she established this. You, Rukmini Devi, have protected my manam. Manamuka padutu ani vachitivi. You came to protect my manam. So this is an ode to her. So I take blessings of my Guru and tell you a little story about myself before I get into further detailed talk on the arts. And so I come from a middle class family. At the age of 4, like all good middle class moms, or Indian moms for that matter, my mother took me to a temple in Sikandrabad. There, after we finished the parikrama, one lady, when Arati was going on, it was a Subramanya Swami temple, and one lady looked at me and told my mother, this girl has big eyes, you better teach her how to dance. So my mother thought it was propitious because it was happening in a temple. And she said, of course, that's what I want to do, but I'm in Hyderabad. I belong to Chennai. Of course, all arts are in Chennai, so what do I do? So this lady said, don't worry, I'm a dance teacher. I'll teach her dance. And my entry into dance class happened next day. So there's a lesson in this. You want to teach classical art to youngsters? Hang out in temples, find chubby kids, and do your marketing. But jokes apart, that day, my journey into this world began. Soon, like all good parents, and like all good young children, We went to competitions, won a medal here, won a medal there, won a cup here, some scholarships here and there. And then at the age of 11, like good Tamilians, we went to Chennai in hot summer. Why? I don't know. Had to meet our grandparents. It was warm. And my mother said, come, let's go and meet someone. So she dragged me. And we went to this very, very verdant place in Chennai, Kalakshetra. We sent our little chit in saying, ma'am, we want to meet you. And this ma'am came out. Beautiful. Maroon sari, white hair, corals on her neck. And she said, yes, tell me, what do you want? I said, I'm a dancer. I was 11. I won a gold medal. So I was thinking I was very great. Turum can't samajh liya apne aap ko. So once I went there, she said, show me something to dance. So my mother sang Krishna Nivegane Baro, the favorite for everyone. And she said, okay, you join Kalakshetra. Woo. At the age of 11, you're given a scholarship to join Kalakshetra. So we go back after the summer holidays, and I'm sitting with my dad. I'm saying, I need to go to Kalakshetra. I'm 11, remember. I have to go to Kalakshetra. My dad is looking at me absolutely stunned. Yes, there was a problem. The problem was not middle-class parents sending an 11-year-old to boarding school to learn dance. Well, that was also a problem. The bigger problem was Kalakshetra didn't have a full-fledged, normal education possibility. And so he said, what will you do? You're 11. You wanted to be a doctor. You're a science-loving student. You're in the science stream. What happened to all those dreams? I said, no, I want to be a dancer. So he said, okay, but there's no school there. So will you be a school dropout? I said, no, I'll do something, but I'll get that high school degree for you, but send me to dance. So I don't know what worked. But at the age of 11, I exchanged convent school pinafores, black ribbon, white belt, St. Anne's school badge, captain badge, black everything else, to langa oni, big bindi, oil in the hair, Kalakshetra. From our Father, thou art in heaven, to the Gayatri Mantra. Sea change. So at the age of 11, I stepped into the portals of Kalakshetra, went on to study there for 6 years, doing all things dance, 360 degrees. And there, because I had made a promise to my dad, I went on to do private school. Those days it was called matriculation, metric, pre-university, BCom, all through Patrachar Vidyalaya. Simultaneously finishing my diploma and PG diploma in Bharatanatyam from Kalakshetra during the lifetime of Rukmini Devi Arundel. At the age of 17, I was back in Hyderabad, and there I decided to be a dance teacher. I ran into a whole lot of people who will say, how can you be a dance teacher at the age of 17? You're a young dancer, you have to rise, you have to do this. I said, look, I will continue to dance, but I also want to teach. So I broke through all these little barriers, continuing to stay the path of what I believed was my journey. Soon I was so deeply immersed in dance that I slept, woke, dreamt, ate dance. And then I ran into economical problems. Well, as I said earlier, middle class parents, I realized that the ROI, return on investment in dance, is pathetic. The income that I could command as a young dancer was far, way below what my expenditure was. And not wanting to dip into the small little nest egg of middle class parents who had other children also, I said, okay, let me upscale. And I went on to do a master's in history from Osman University, MPhil and stuff like that, so that I could upscale and find something else that would fund my art. While on the campus, friends were sitting there saying, write this exam, and I had no clue what these exams were. And they said, you must take the UPSC. I said, what is the UPSC? So UPSC are the Union Public Service Commission exams that selects the administrators of the country. And I'm telling myself, why do you want to be ticket collectors on a train? But I was studying for this exam, and I ran into a very, very angry mother. A mother who would come and stand in front of my desk, which I was studying for the exam, and she would say, stop studying. Has any mom told that to you? Stop studying? My mom did. She said, don't study. Her logic was, if you study and take the exam, you will pass. You will sit at a desk. You will ring the bell. Peon will come. File will come. Dance Govinda. It will go out of the window. I said, no. I will keep both paths going. So, making that promise, I went on to join the Indian Railway Traffic Service, having cleared the exams, and joined a very, very male bastion. I was the first lady officer of the Railway Traffic Service in South Central Railway, and they said sir to me for a whole month. Sir ne kabhi baby bhi bol diya mere ko. They thought I was kisi ki beti. So there, I'll come to why I'm giving you all this background. While I was serving, I was busy with operations, mainline train operations, loading, unloading, hierarchy, people management, rules, accidents even, train accidents. And I was doing all this as a good young officer, learning the path. And then I ran into well-meaning colleagues who said, "Ab tumko अच्छा सा नौकरी मिल गया, All India Services, Class 1 नौकरी मिल गया, अब बंद करो डांस." क्यों डांस कर रहे? Why are you dancing? So they ran into me because I was rather committed. I said, no. I will do what I have to do during office hours. What I do outside office hours is not your business. So I continued. And this decision of, like a good railway officer, sorry for the railway metaphor, I tread the parallel path on two tracks of both being an officer and a dancer. That was many, many years ago, quite some decades ago. This 360-degree engagement in the art, along with being an arts entrepreneur by bringing Natya Ramba, a Bharatanatyam practice app in 2017, my dance journey was not just performance. It was performance, teaching, choreography, writing, speaking, and entrepreneurship. All these wonderful things were happening when in 2008, on the 1st of July 2008, I heard the word carcinoma. Sitting in my doctor's chambers, I heard other words. I heard the words cancer, stage, grade. Until then, cancer was my friend Padma's zodiac sign. Stage was what I danced on, and grades were what I didn't get in school. But that day, those words took an ominous, they took a completely different meaning. So sitting there, the only thing running in my head was, while my husband was having this conversation with the doctor, 2 years, surgery, etc., etc., I'm like, oh my God, what will happen to my dance? So driving home, when I went back, I cried copiously. Angry, irritated, frustrated, but not afraid. On the way back, I asked my husband Jayant, I said, is this the end of the road? Is this it? Not so much as in life, but is it the end of my dance? And he said, no, take a break and you'll be fine. So that day, I wiped my tears and told myself, and drawing strength from his positivity, I declared to the world at large that cancer is one page in my life. It's not the book of my life. The second affirmation I made, I said, cancer, I will not say why me. My logic was simple. when I get awards, do I say why me? No. So I said, now I won't say why me. And the third thing I said is, I will ride it out. I will not allow cancer to ride me. Keeping these affirmations in mind, I went full hog into the process of dealing with cancer, with my mind very clear that I would dance through it. And that's what I did. Because I realized that the clamor and clutter and melodrama that cancer throws at you, or for that matter, any issue throws at you, can be overcome by your focus, by shifting focus to what animates you, what you love, who you are. And by now you know that dance is who I am. So I told myself, I'm going to shift my concentration to dance and dance through it. So I told myself, ये कैंसर वैंसर क्या होता है? C को निकालो, D को डालो. कैंसर को डांसर बनाओ. It became very easy after that. But was it easy? Maybe not. Because while I would drag myself to my studio every day to practice, the physical downside of all the medication took its toll. The mood swings, the depression, the anger, the physical changes, because I went from beautiful to bald in 3 days, by the way. But be that as it may, what happened is, during the course of the 2 years of my treatment, I kept dance in complete focus. I brought laser sharp focus to my dance to such an extent that I danced weeks after surgery. I danced through chemo. I danced through radiation. I did conferences. I traveled. Nothing stopped. Now, why am I telling you this story? The reason why I'm bringing this whole personal story in front of you is that what this dance form was, what this art training was, what this passion is a deep landscape of personal resource. You can call it whatever. But at the end of the day, it is something that sits in the back of your spine, sits at the base of your spine, and tells you, hey, here I am, your best friend, your best strength. And I always tell myself, and I tell young educators, of course, Vidyakshetra is a completely different kind of a school. But I tell young educators that while you're focusing on the core competency of young students, you're making them core competent engineers, core competent doctors, core competent what have you. But what is it that I would rather you focus on is core strength. And I make a distinction. For me, core strength is something that will come from one's unique talent. Nothing else. And each and every one of us is blessed with that unique talent. Each and every one of us. We just have to recognize it. It could be many talents also. And then you're really blessed. Each and every one of us is blessed with that unique talent. And today you saw that talent. I mean, look at this bunch of dancers. They're like sparkles of energy. I didn't see dancers. I saw energy flying. And that unique talent, that core strength, is what we need to nourish as educators, as parents. First parents, then educators. Because invariably in today's present world, in our dollar chase, in the America dream, and in this one-sided focus on creating careers, we forget that more than the career, what I want to create is a good human. And that good human, to ensure that the good human is able to face life, what you need to nourish and cherish and sustain and push into that child is core strength. And when I say core strength, I once again repeat, it is nourishing that unique talent. Sometimes we as parents and teachers believe, अरे ये डांस सीख के क्या मिलेगा? कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, चलेगा, कोई बात नहीं. You may or may not make a career out of it. Not all talents can be monetized. I mean, unless you're a Federer or a Serena Williams, where the passion and the career brings in the big checks. But it's not possible that every such unique talent can be monetized. What if you're a bad bathroom singer? How can you monetize it? But you must continue doing it. So what I'm trying to say is that even if it doesn't become a career, leave alone an alternate career, leave alone a subsidy career, nourish it. Find the guru, find the teacher, find the places to nourish this art form. Nourish the talent, not art form. Nourish the talent in the child. Because then you are giving that child extraordinary sources, pillars of strength that the child can fall back upon when you and I are not there here. Because young parents who are sitting here, believe me, the business of life is to challenge us. Challenge we all will be. Because that is the business of life. The business of life is to challenge us, and therein lies our greatest learning. However, to deal with the challenges that life is bound to throw at us, and God forbid any of you hear the word carcinoma ever in your lives, but some challenge will happen. To deal with that challenge, rather than weeping and crying and going into Instagram and posting ridiculous stuff, the easier thing would be to just pull back into your art. And then nothing can stop you. And hence, I go to this point and say that today, in 2024, we in India are walking on a path in which a country is pulsating with energy. We are in that Rajasic stage of the country. Dynamism is at its peak. Everything is guaranteed to move towards a nation that is rising to seek its place at the world's table. And in this era, it is very propitious for art and artists to be able to do something with their art. So here, my point to educators is, while we are talking of Make in India, what do we do about what is made in India? What is made in India over the centuries is what you saw this evening. The arts. Today, when she said when the compeer said the Encyclopedia of Bharat, I smiled to myself. I said, I wish I had seen this as a child. I would have stopped. I would have not got so bored with geography and history classes. Today, you saw the whole geography of the country come alive. You probably didn't understand the Sanskrit. Some of you did, some of you didn't. But did it matter? The image, the imagery, and the imagination that was employed to bring alive the Saguna and Nirguna Rupa of the nation. You saw the Saguna Rupa, you saw the mountains, you saw the river, you saw the Nirguna, you saw all the beautiful esoteric ideas. And I think all of us got almost all of it. I saw Ravi Verma come alive. Everything came alive. Now, how did that happen? And it came alive for all of us. Yes, they were brilliant dancers. Yes, the choreography was good. But more than that, what happened? What happened is the collective unconscious, as Jung called it, we all know these things. We all know. We all have heard of Bhatkande, we've heard of Tansen, we've heard of Tyagaraja, we've heard of Surdas. Those things came alive in an imagery. So, invariably, today, if you look at it, what happens is an average child tends to look at the Indian art forms as something that they don't want to deal with. Have you ever noticed that whenever a country celebrates, whenever a country showcases itself, what does it showcase itself with? Republic Day Parade, G20 events, Olympic sagas, Commonwealth Games. What is it that is focused? The arts. So I have a theory. I tell everyone this, that yes, infrastructure, design, wealth are the spine of a nation. Can't do without a spine, right? You'll be paralyzed. It's needed. But the face and the soul of a nation is her arts, is her culture. Whenever a country showcases itself, and it's not just India, every country that showcases itself, and when it wants to make that, it brings its best arts. Culture, creativity, entertainment are slippery concepts. Culture in its broadest terms, as I mentioned earlier, demands an engagement of the actor, the viewer, the audience, the performer, the engagement being the key word here. So today we were engaged with the artist, and hence we enjoyed ourselves. And the artists were able to engage with us by the virtuosity and their involvement and their completely dissolving themselves into that art form. Our world today celebrates the genius of scientists, technology pioneers, and uses their discoveries and inventions with panache. And yet this still is the outer world. There is another world that stays alive, the internal. With the creativity and creative genius of centuries, what you saw today. And I feel that this internal journey is somehow not reaching our young. It is not to this audience. I'm speaking to a larger audience. It is something that is a collective conscious or the collective unconscious of a country, and it precludes formal learning. Today you didn't have to learn about, you needn't have even gone to geography class, history class. You understood what they did. You didn't have to know any story on Krishna, and yet they did what they did. So as young parents, there are many stories, many narratives, many itihasas that can be taught like this through an art form. If I'm teaching Krishna ni begane baro or baro Krishnaya, can I just say Krishna ni begane baro? You will not get it, the child will not get it. So I have to willy-nilly teach the child stories on Krishna. At least 4 stories that relate to that story. So without any preamble or structured class, the child learns that itihasa. You can go to anybody in the country and say, who is this? And they'll say Rama. Because it is part of your collective unconscious. However, if we don't keep on reinforcing these ideas, at some point of time we'll find children where this strength of what the culture gives to you is snatched from that generation. So I sometimes, I do this often. I stop these young kids on the road, this torn jeans, scuffed shoes, iPods in the ear, earpods in the ear and iPad in the hand kind of thing. And I stop them and say, who's Tulsidas? Who's Surdas? Which language did Tyagaraja sing in? Name 2 dance styles, name 2 music styles. Tell me the 2 music styles of India, and they'll all roll their eyes. This auntie is asking too many questions. But then, suppose I say, hey, there's a Coldplay concert, 80,000 tickets, Ed Sheeran, who's he? Ma'am. Immediate answers. So what's happening? I think our own personal and social unwritten laws state that culture is something we engage with after the more important tasks of our life are dealt with. So culture is after work, after job, after tax, after spouse, after children, after, then some culture. Why have we narrowed down our culture into this silo of some chota-mota entertainment? Was it entertainment today? I think it was edutainment today. There was education happening through the arts. Have we as a society come to believe that while learning and understanding the external world is possible for young children, the internal is beyond the average student? Is that what we are believing in? How many of you parents have been excited and thrilled about your child being here today, being part of Vidyakshetra, learning this holistic way of learning from which probably you also have learnt a lot? I'm sure the child comes back with some story and you'll say, hey, I didn't know this story. I didn't know this interpretation. I didn't know this philosophy. To me, the reluctance of generations to engage with culture in its entirety is an enormous waste of human potential. The question I ask is, are we as a nation driving our children to a dwarf and nourished, malnourished, dwarfed core? Are we as a nation, our society, directing the young to seek nourishment from a predetermined paradigm of market economics? Some years ago, my family went to Brihadishwara temple. How many of you have been there? Like Tanjavur temple. So we went around, looked at it, beautiful temple, built in 1010 AD, built in just 10 years. Look at the scale. 80 feet, Vimana, 80 ton, Kapola, so many sculptures, so many paintings, huge parikrama, huge vigraham, huge Nandi, and built in 10 years. So we came around and we said, this was built in 1010 AD. We went in 2020, pre-pandemic. And we said, even today, I'm awestruck. I'm awestruck at what was it that they achieved in 1010 AD in 10 saal mein, 10 years. So I was telling my husband, apne city mein metro bhi aur saal lagta hai. Metro banane mein bhi. So we came around and we said, let's presume it was 2016. So in 2016, we are still looking at what was built in 1010 AD. What is it that we can do in 2016 or 2024 today that will be seen in 3024? Do we have anything to show? Think about it. So here, the question that I'm asking is, that was a legacy that we still are proud of. What is going to be my legacy? What is going to be your legacy? That you had a lovely house in America? Good. But beyond that, what? What is the legacy that you and I will leave for our children and grandchildren to be proud of? That is a question that we as parents, society, as members of society, as educators, as administrators and politicians need to ask. What is going to be the legacy that I will leave that draws upon the itihasa, draws upon the country's millennia of knowledge, wisdom, what am I going to add to it? Leave alone adding, let me at least not destroy it. So today I say that lifestyles require a redetermining of the perimeters of arts and science. Today I was just speaking to Muneet Ji and Shivakumar Ji, and I said, we have pushed our arts and our education into silos. I have read the beautiful book by Sarita's sister Sahana on the education system of ancient India, where all these streams merged. They merged because it's the best way to learn. And I think that's what you're doing in Vidyakshetra, and I hope there are more such schools. Because today, if you do not invest in your artistic space, your technological space is not going to give you any jaga. Because if you want the aesthetics of your iPad, or the beauty of design, or beauty of even your architecture of your computer systems, it all comes from that artistic space. You cannot decry it or deny it. So today's education system, now we come to the topic. Today's education system, the average education system, has booted arts out of the classroom. We have somehow sent this message that arts are lovely and beautiful, but not essential. And they have been trivialized as entertainment. Most of the educational institutions prepare a child for a career, but they fail to prepare a child for life. And I'm so deeply blessed to see Vidyakshetra preparing children for both career and life. So why should we be involved in art? I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Why should I do it? Why should my child learn any art? Well, I think the answer to that is any engagement with the arts gives teeth to the why and the wherefore and the kyun and the kahan of life, keeping us centered and moved, like it did with me. It teaches you to be able to deal with something as horrible as cancer, looking it in the eye, because I had that support of dance. So what can we do? Because I feel that the nation is like a 32-wheel truck on the highway of say from Bangalore to Chennai. It's a 32-wheel truck. One wheel is arts and culture. Ignore it at your own peril. Because if 32 wheels all have to go together, you cannot ignore your arts, you cannot ignore your culture. And when I say arts and culture, it is in its widest scope. Visual, performative, plastic arts, whatever you want to call it. The issue is we have to figure out how can we bring access to arts to everybody. If music, dance, sculpture, painting is not taught in schools, and it's not Vidyakshetra, if it's not taught in schools, when your children grow up and earn those 7-figure salaries or 10-figure salaries, what will you spend it on? कितने बड़े घर बनाओगे, कितने कार रखोगे, उसके बाद? You'll have to come to art. So don't do that. Keep it, hold it with you, take it as your best friend. And hence, I say, what can we do? How can we bring this into the system? How can we mainstream the arts? Which you are already doing, but I will just put in a few points. The questions that usually are thrown at us arts educators is, why should we inculcate an appreciation of arts? Why? It doesn't give me a career. It doesn't give me salary. The time spent on art can be utilized better. They can go learn sports. They can learn competitive exams. I know children who go for competitive exams from class 7. Anyway, my child does some Gana Bajana. That's enough. Why do I need? The school has a very tight budget, so there's no place for art teacher. So things like this are the devil's advocate questions that are always thrown at you. Well, why do we need it? Well, it is proven that art enables and enhances creativity, understanding, nurtures invention, teaches courage, inquisitiveness, and the child learns to solve life's problems better. More importantly, art teaches you how to live with each other. Today, you saw the kind of comfort each of the groups had dancing with each other. If that is not teamwork, what is? All these great management lessons you learn, teamwork, go to a resort, 3 days, let's holiday, let's do some trekking, let's get drunk, and then we'll do team. No, teamwork happens somewhere like this. Did you see the teamwork? You know, in art, in my dance classes, I also deal with a large number of groups. And I'll tell them, you have to notice and learn the other person by not looking at them. You must have eyes in your spine, I tell them. Not one of them banged into each other. Did you notice that? How does that happen? That happens because you're trusting the other person. You're giving space to the other person. You're treating the other person as an equal. And you're also supporting. You're looking out, as they say in the modern language. You're looking out and holding out for each other. And hence, to me, that is nothing but extraordinary teamwork. What more can a parent or a teacher want that a child learns teamwork so easily without any of those books and all that stuff? So let's explore how we can reinvent this. The question is, when you're talking of arts, is it the first class that is being dispensed with when you have a budgetary problem? Are art teachers mostly the lowest paid? What is the quality and quantity of the arts teacher? What is the premium that we as educators and you as parents put to an arts teaching? Hence, how can we make the arts more integrated into our average school education? So I have a simple, I'm not a school educator, I'm not an academic educator from that space, but I can throw some ideas. What if we can teach young primary math fractions through Konakol, through jatis, through maybe a mridangam, for example. Supposing I say, so what okay, this is what I said. Now all of you all are saying, what is this, Akka? Okay, let's break it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taka takita, taka takita, taka takita. Tatikita tum, tatikita tum, tatikita tum. The child has learnt basic number counting, fractions, playing with and enjoying it. What if we could teach geography by Vande Bharatanatyam? What if we could bring our stories alive, histories and narratives alive through the arts, through the, say, puppetry, through dance, through music? If we are able to integrate the average school education and their subjects through the art forms and not keep it as silos, then I think we are talking. What if we can teach architecture through Bharatanatyam? Nothing teaches you architecture better than Bharatanatyam. I was sitting with Shivakumar and he was saying, what is this Alaripu? I was telling it's the architecture, it's the basic architecture of dance. So these are questions, these are the points I want to throw at. How can we think out of the box to bring our arts into our space? Because nurturing your talent, nurturing an alternate calling, helps us step up from the mundane and the routine and helps us bring focus and attention to everyday life. Because one's unique talent and skill is the ignition key to a great life. Because this alternate engagement of being involved with something else other than your mainstream education will awaken childlike curiosity and help you step up from the mundane and go forward and help you take leaps of faith to create those inventions that you really want to do, that is needed to be done to put this nation on that track. Because talent equals passion, equals energy, equals excellence, equals life. Talent equals passion, equals energy, equals excellence, equals life. Make this your mantra. Nurture your talent. Chuck, 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 chuck. Everything will move forward. Because it is eminently possible and entirely desirable to be able to nourish a core competent career alongside a core strength owned art, because the core strength of your talent will help you grow into better people and better officers, or whatever you want to call it, inventors in that career form. Your core competency will be supported by your core strength. Because we owe it to ourselves. We as a nation owe it to ourselves. If we are talking of dharma, if we are talking of Sanatana dharma, if that is what we are wanting to bring back into the consciousness of this nation, the shortcut is arts. The closest, fastest shortcut is arts. Because once a child is introduced to this art form, it's going to be very difficult to derail that child. Because your talent, your unique artistic talent, your core strength, fuels courage, pulverizes obstacles, helps you come back from setbacks and makes you fearless, as it did with me. Because passion, talent, arts are the true momentum of life. Everything else will follow it. Because as human beings, we move. I mean, as bureaucrats and as administrators and as technological innovators, we are all goal-oriented people. We go from A to B, right? It's always A to B. But I have another theory. Is it A to B or is it B to D? We are all coming in through that doorway called birth, and we'll all go out through that doorway called death. That's life. And in between is life. I'm not sounding morbid, I'm just stating a fact. But between B and D is C. No, not corona. No, not cancer. C is choice. C stands for the choice that you will make to invest in the arts as students, as teachers, as parents, as educators, in whichever way possible, the methodology, the way of doing it, we can draw from ancient methodologies, from Sahana's extraordinary research. We can draw from so many models, the Vidyakshetra model, the Kalakshetra model, these models and models. Drawing from it, we can create, and we don't need to create one. I mean, India is always ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. So we can create models and models of, but the essence is to make sure that whatever we do it in that holistic way, where arts, your unique talent, your culture, all are center stage in your life, alongside everything else you do. And I feel that just like a river, once you're engaged in the arts, the arts will help you be that river. Imagine a river. You saw that river flow, and that's why that metaphor came into my head. A river flows through mountains. You saw that. Cuts boulders, erodes rock, burrows through mountains, and emerges into the sunshine as it carries life forward, because a river is actually life. And that river is what you will be carrying forward when you embrace the arts. When you embrace India's culture and arts are the words don't do it any justice. I'll call it Sanskriti. That Sanskriti, if you are able to engage with in its entirety, whether it's the poetry that you heard today, whether you heard the languages, the different languages, everything comes together, and it is simple, shortcut. Kachak, you're there, you know everything. So why would you not do it? And hence, I leave you with this thought of saying that make sure that you make the choice to choose arts as something that's so essential to you, in whichever way possible. Break those pre-existing mind blocks. Think out of the box. And whatever models work practically, let's push it together. Each one of us can't do it. We have to do it together. Because, as one of my favorite writers, Wayne Dyer, said, heaven on earth is not a place you must find. But a choice you must make. Let's make that choice. Heaven on earth is not a place you must find, but a choice you must make. Let's make that choice of making our country that heaven on earth which it is meant to be. Vande Bharata Mataram. God bless you, and may Vidyakshetra grow to what it is meant to be. May you be the leader in this path of holistic education. Thank you once again, Muneet Ji. Thank you, Preethi. And thank you, the whole team and the young children, parents. Thank you for having me here. Namaste.